Ready. Okay, well, welcome to our first Coffee with an Architect. I wanted to thank you all for being here and let you know that this is an event that we're going to do on a monthly basis from now on, especially for our allied members. Lee Hopkinson, who is the Allied Director, had this idea and put this program together. So we're really pleased to be able to do this. And where is Lee? I wanted him to give us a little background and get us started. So
Sure.
Lee, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And yes, it is the 21st. Yes, we are going to try to keep this to 21 minutes. And yes, there is a reason to my madness on why we picked the 21. So let's start with that. 21, I wanted to really make it a little bit more specific, obviously, for Las Vegas. And in Blackjack, if you get 21, you're a winner. And everybody on this phone call is a winner. And it's going to take each and every one of us, in my opinion, to support the design community and specifically work with them as we come into whatever is going to be the new norm. I'm an allied member, as is most people, if not everyone on this phone, on this meeting. And, earlier in the year, I sent out a survey that asked for some feedback. What does an allied member want? Where can we be supported more? We know we're valued. We know we want to be an important part of the AIA, but we also want our voices heard. It's a privilege and an honor for me to represent the allied members on the board of directors. And as I was speaking to them about this, it became very, very apparent that they equally had that same message back to us. Hey, you guys are valued. You are important. How do we make sure that there's this connectivity between what the allied membership has versus what the AIA is doing? And often, like most of you who sit in meetings, forget that the people sitting in the meeting hear what's going on. The people that they're representing out in in the organizations don't get that message because we get tied up with what's going on in the meetings that we're in. So sending out that survey and getting some feedback from you guys, I really did appreciate that. There's a couple things that came out of it that I wanted to address, and it was really the metamorphosis of this particular monthly meeting, which is, high up on the list was, how do I get more one-on-one time with the architects? How do I get more face time? How do I get inside their head? Well, hello, I'm you, right? I want that same thing. How do I get that face time with the architects? How do I get inside their head so I understand to be a better service and support to them? And so for any of you that have gone to the product show, which may or may not look the same this year, that's still open for discussion as we move closer, pending the pandemic and the guidelines set forth by the governor. But as we move through this, as for those of you who went to the product show, there was a part that you could sit in front of an architect during the lunch meeting and really have like a 3 to 5 minutes, almost speed dating concept in front of them where you got to ask them certain things. This is a little bit of a twist on that. And so, I do believe that there's a lot of fear and anxiety out there in the marketplace. I also believe that I would never bet against America. I would never bet against Las Vegas, and I certainly would never bet against the capabilities of everybody on this particular call. We're in an enormous amount of brain power here. The key really is communication. The key really is collaboration. How do we support each other? I do reading from time to time just to try to make myself educated in the marketplace. And when I first sat down with Randy about 1.5 years ago, I told her, my biggest contribution that I can make is to understand what's needed in the design community so that I can mirror up my services and products to sync up with what's the business critical needs out there. I believe that's the desire for everybody else on the phone here too. Before I kind of open up to what this meeting is really going to be about, I wanted to read this article that I read yesterday that I thought was kind of fascinating, but also set the tone for what hopefully these next future meetings will be about. And it came out of Construct Dive, and it said demand for U.S. design services last month saw its steepest decline on record, according to a new report today from the American Institute of Architects. AIA's Architectural Billings Index score of 29.5 for April reflects a decrease in design services provided by U.S. architecture firms. Anything below 50 indicates a decrease. Regional averages for April varied from 38.1 for Western states, that's us, to a low of 23 for the Northeast. Billings for commercial and industrial products declined the most, followed by mixed practice, multifamily residential, and institutional. So me being a service provider into the design community, you know, I take note of that because that's certainly how our designers get paid, is by billings. What am I doing to help support them in their efforts to help make sure that they pre-position their companies correctly? That's part of what I hope to get accomplished in these particular Coffee with the Architects, is getting inside their mind, understanding how, help me help you. How can I be of a better resource to you? So Lance being the president, the current president of the AIA Las Vegas, I thought, who better than to get inside his mind, which I've been trying to do for several months now. So I figured I'd start with him. But before I do that, keep in mind, this is engaging, okay? It's never meant for one person to be speaking. And I've certainly done more speaking than I hope for future meetings will be about. We want to hear from you. What's important to you? What will make your business a better value proposition for the design community to which we support? So very interactive. You can either do it by just asking the question, or you can put it in the chat box down there. I do have some questions to ask, but I'm going to hold off to it. I'm going to turn it over to Lance just to do a quick introduction and then start engaging you guys on some questions out there. So Lance?
Thank you, Lee. I'm excited to be here for your inaugural Allied event. So thank you. And coffee, yes, Coffee with the Architect. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning for a quick little meet and greet and discussion here. As Lee mentioned, I'm the president of AIA Las Vegas. I am a principal at LGA Architecture, and I've been working in architecture for about 26 years here in Las Vegas. I'm a graduate of UNLV, both my undergraduate and my graduate degree. So I've lived in Las Vegas since 1990. I'm actually a third generation Nevadan, grew up in Northern Nevada, and actually came down here to go to architecture school, which I wanted to be an architect my whole life. That's all I remember. And so I followed that. But yeah, my family started here from Utah in 1918. So they lived up in McGill, right next to Ely. So we've kind of been all over the state, from Hawthorne to Southern Nevada to the mid part. So, but yes, I've been, and I've been involved with the board of directors for about 4 or 5 years now, 4 years actually, and then involved with AI Las Vegas since probably the early 2000s, kind of off and on. So it's a great organization. And I think there's so much we can offer, and there's so much we can do for our community. But I'd love to hear if anybody has any questions. I guess I could start by, I think one key component to working with many of our colleagues in the architecture industry is relationships, right? That is the key that I've found, that it takes a team of collaborators to do any building, from design, planning, and construction, right? So it's not just the architect. We rely on all of the allied members and our colleagues to produce and develop and design these buildings. So it's key. So relationships is really the start of it for me. And also what I've found is over many years is just, there's different ways that we found, we've had so many people come through our doors who are reaching out, product representatives or consultants through engineering, through planning, through different products. And so getting in and reaching out to us is key. We always are wanting to learn and bring in new ideas and new thoughts. Timing sometimes doesn't always work. I found that's the key. Sometimes everybody's looking with different, we don't connect at the right time, but being persistent and reaching out, communicating is key. Because for me, it's all about relationships. And I've maintained many of them for 20 years that I still have today with certain organizations or companies. And so that would be key in my thinking.
Thanks, Lance. Anybody have a rebuttal to that, or a comment, or even a question?
We are Lori Lee and Adriana Gonoraski, and I tried to put Lori's name in there, but I can't. I did it yesterday, but I cannot do it today. So Lori is here with me. We are kind of social distancing here a little bit. And we are very happy to be in this meeting. We are We work together. Lori is the business developer. I am the Senior Vice President of Innova Technologies. We are a consulting firm for structural engineering work, and we have opened our doors in 2003. We have 26 employees, and right now we have two different departments. We have the regular structural engineer, which would be of interest to the architects because it's the building part. And then we have another department now. We separated them, and the other one, well, that one is in Innova Technologies for the buildings, and we have Innova Transportation for what is bridges and monorails. So we are here to maybe we need to introduce, maybe everybody can introduce themselves, but if you have questions for us, that will be great. We love to work with architects. We have been members of the AIA for a while, working with Kelly and Randy and doing the AIA, the presentation, what's the name? The product show, and we enjoy that. So yeah, we're here to collaborate.
Great. Thank you, Adriana.
Lori Lee is also our the AIA social media director, and she is working with us to help us get the word out to the community and the architectural community about all the things that we are doing. So thank you, Lori, for being here today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hey, Lee, I want to thank you for supporting all of my social media posts. I look forward to meeting you in person someday.
I look forward to meeting you. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, who's posting all this? Now I know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
good stuff.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Adriana, thank you very much for breaking the ice. It really takes me into maybe a question for everybody on this. You know, I opened up with saying this is all about the allied members. At least that was kind of the genesis of it. What do you want this meeting? What do you want to get out of this meeting in future meetings, other than having an architect there? I mean, what dynamically you could come out of here and say that was a great takeaway? Anyone?
I'll bring something up. I would like to know from Lance's perspective, what are you seeing out there? What are your feelings and thoughts about what the next, 3 months, 6 months, a year looks like for design and construction?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think if that's on most everybody's mind, is the rest of this year, and even frankly into next year, right? Because what we found with these recessions, just through experience, is there's a lag, right? It might hit the markets and the economy different ways in different parts, but when you get to Las Vegas, what happens then takes a while to recover, right? And so that's our concern. And in fact, just last week, I don't know if any of you had a chance to sit in on the monthly meeting. We had a great panel of 8 architects, and just to hear their thoughts. And they were, if anything, it was probably very similar in that was, we're not sure, right? We're seeing the end may have kind of dropped out, and we're seeing things opening back up, but we know that with architecture, things take time, and even in construction and design, all of that does. So it makes everybody a little bit nervous. Even in my own firm, a number of projects have been postponed or went away, and we don't know how long that means going away. However, at the same time, there's new doors opening up. So it's sort of hard to tell where that might lead, but some people are taking advantage of it and other parts aren't. I think it might depend on your market types as well, because for instance, with us, we're kind of a 50-50 in private and public, and a little more on the public side. Some of those are continuing to move on. Others had to shift money around to put it into the general fund, right? Because taxes aren't being taken in, so there's not the fund. So it's kind of hard to say right now. It's kind of the answer. From me personally, like I said, with our firm, we're seeing some potential, but we're a little nervous. And what that does for us, for instance, we were moving our office, and now we're holding off on that, right? And we were going to hire. We had actually a person out there that we were hiring, and we put that on hold. And rightly so. We're just not comfortable making those commitments right now. It's kind of unfortunately as the whole pandemic's been, right, a week to week. Now it's kind of month to month, and we're just sort of pushing the can down the road to make a real solid decision. But I also think that how we practice is changing. We've probably all kind of experienced that, right? We're making different, we're thinking differently about how we, as I mentioned, we were moving into an office where it was growing. That office was going to be about probably another 50% bigger, and we were growing. And now we're reconsidering that. Can we do what we have with what we've got now? People want to work from home. I was amazed at how well we adapted, right? Architecture is a collaborative process. And we were all very fearful the day we left and said, how are we going to get this done? And we have adapted. We've made it work. We've proven that we have, and we have, at our firm, we have many people, and I've been hearing this across the board as well, as firms are finding people that are thriving working alone, and it's working well, and people are more productive, you know? So I think that's been a key too, is we're finding that we may, I think through this year, probably not be at full capacity through much of this year. And we may reconsider even how we reach out with perhaps some new team members may not need to be in our office. We've actually looked before, we've done some international searches, and we had some people we were looking at in Europe, and we thought, okay, we had to bring them over. But now we're thinking we could actually just work well with them. They could stay in Europe. They would never have to set foot in our office. So that's kind of our future. But from a project base, yeah, it's a little bit of a concern, but it's opening, seems to be opening up a little bit more each week here, that new prospects might be popping up. Hopefully that answered it for you there, Lori.
Yeah. I have another question. So if a company would like to drill down and talk a little bit more about specific projects that you guys have going on, or market sectors that you are considering breaking into because of things changing, because I feel like we're all probably re-evaluating where our markets are and what they look like. So what is LGA's process for firms to, you know, interact with you to talk about specific projects and opportunities?
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I think the relationship is really key, right? It's like any kind of business. You want to connect with people. You want to have a working relationship with them. So, like with mine, you know, you've dropped in before, you know, and said hello, and our doors are always open, and we'll meet you and greet you if we can, right? A lot of times we might set up another meeting or a follow-up, but our firm is typically happy to share those types of things. We'll share where we're going, what we're doing, how we can work together, right, and find opportunities. Mm-hmm. I know just that there's a lot of familiar faces and names on this meeting today, and I've worked with many of them, various capacities. But it's really back down to that relationship. You know, it's no different. This is a business development, right? This is a prospect. This is looking to find ways to collaborate. And I think that's the key there, is just reach out. And I kind of mentioned, you know, timing's not always there sometimes, but some patience as well, and persistence, I think, helps, because it's all, for us, it's timing. We may not, we may have things going on, and it's hard to just shift things and bring something new in. But when we look at the future, or, hey, here's something new, how do we do something different? We'll keep you guys in mind. And that's where, for me, the relationship is, you know, hey, I've been talking with this person. Let's see how we can get them involved, because this would be great, because we know about you, right? That's the other thing, is we need to be collaborative and share what you know, and understand what you have to offer, and vice versa, so we can find ways to work together as time goes on.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to express is that we also can assist you in your business development efforts. And, you know, collectively, probably everybody on this call can work with you for project pursuits that would benefit all of us. And obviously, the more boots on the ground, the better chances, the more ears on the streets, the better chances. So yeah. I'm just saying that we would be happy to work with you to collaborate on project pursuits if it makes sense.
Yeah, great. No, that's great to hear. I agree.
I like to say that when I talk to allied members, new members in particular, maybe I've said this to all of you, but the AIA really values our allied members. And coming from a marketing background, I look at our allied members and say, how can I help them? What are the benefits there? So if you look at AIA as a marketing tool and you use those opportunities that we put out there to, like Lance said, get to know the architects and, you know, use those meetings and opportunities to make those connections, then that's a great help. You can't like not participate and expect to be, you know, integrated into the discussions and the conversation. But once the architects know you and know the source of the products and services that you provide, you know, they're going to think, oh yeah, I met that person. I know who, or even I talked to them online. So I would just say, think of AIA as your marketing tool. And if we can assist in any way, Kelly and I are here to do that. So let us know.
Randy, it would be awesome if we could know who would be on these calls as a result, or maybe either after the call or before the call, but if we could get names and maybe company names of everybody that participated on the calls so that maybe we could interact with each other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Be glad to provide that to you. Kelly can do that, right, Kel?
Yeah.
Hey, Lance, I just had a real quick question. With a lot of people working out of their homes, and it looks like that might be a change that's going to actually stay, how best is it for us as vendors and suppliers to work with your teams?
Great question. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you
Hi.
again. That's a good question, because this is evolving for us as well, right? How do we now go get these face-to-face through Zoom meetings, or, you know, or how do we find other ways to meet? But I would still say communication, reaching out to us. You know, it's hard. We try to reply to every email, but sometimes we can't, you know, but reach out, give a call, continue to pull that, to reach out and have that relationship and continue with that. But it will change a little bit, but if we're all comfortable now with having these video meetings, that could be it as well. You know, even there's been a lot of kind of discussion of people, how are we getting sort of products and materials and resources to us? We're just shipping them to our house now. It's changed, right? So things are coming here. We might even find a way that just through a delivery gets if we need those types of things. So, but this is a new way, and I think it's here to stay. I think these more videos is going to be a key, that we don't always have to be face-to-face, but the idea is that we're communicating, right? We are connecting, we're collaborating, and we're going to find ways to work together.
Yeah,
And if I can, go ahead.
I will say that, you know, in light of the pandemic and the changes that we've all had to make, AIA has canceled all of our in-person meetings for the rest of the year. We will be doing the product show, but it will be a virtual product show. So all of you will get information about how we are going to do that. And that, of course, is in the interest of keeping everybody safe and healthy and so forth. But we are always looking for additional ways to reach out and to be to make these effective virtual meetings. So whatever ideas or questions or whatever you have, please contact me and let me know. And you know, together we can make it even better. So. Oh, and the golf tournament also has been rescheduled for next April. So we're just playing it safe, being on the safe side. You know, the health and the safety of our members and all of our participants is of utmost importance. And so AIA has made this decision. The only exception might be our holiday celebration at the end of the year. If things are going well by then, we may go ahead and have our holiday celebration in person, but that depends upon a lot of factors. So I just wanted to let you all know at this point.
Andy, is that an AIA national thing or an AIA Las Vegas thing?
Well, National has also canceled all of their travel and all of their in-person meetings for the remainder of the year. And when we looked at what was happening with the pandemic, throughout the nation, even though some of the states are opening and have phased in openings. We just felt that it would be more beneficial for us to be on the safe side of this and utilize this virtual meeting tool to keep our members safe. At the same time, providing information and opportunities to discuss the things that are going on. So, yes.
So I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. There's very specific reasons why we said 21. I want to make this more of a on purpose, on focus meeting that everyone could say, you know what, I can give 21 minutes to 30 minutes Thursday because we're being respectful, knowing that it's only going to be 21 minutes to 30 minutes. But with that, is there any final questions or comments? If not, I'm going to go ahead and end with some closing comments from anyone. Well, on behalf of Las Vegas AIA, Lance, Kelly, and Randy, thank you for joining us on this inaugural Coffee with the Architect. I actually learned a lot out of it and really appreciated everybody's time. To emphasize a little bit more Lance's comment, it's all about the relationship. That's really the single most important takeaway of this particular meeting. It's developing stronger connectivity, stronger relationships, better communication, absolutely about the collaboration it's going to take from each and every one of us to support whatever the new norm is going to be. So with that, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next meeting. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Hey,
everybody.
Lance and Randy and
Bye.
Kelly, can you guys stay on real quick?
Sure.
Thanks, Lance.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Everybody.
Thanks, Lance.
So we're doing this.
Thank you.
Okay. We're doing this Coffee with an Architect on a monthly basis. So we will have another one of these next month. We will promote them in advance so you know who's going to be speaking, and get your questions together and make them beneficial. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Bye.
Thank you all.